I asked the historian Dr. Catherine Haddon from the Institute for Government whether it was unusual for an ex-PM to hang around the Commons once the removal lorry had left Downing Street.
It is these days. It's getting more and more so. David Cameron, certainly he lasted about 3 months or so. Gordon Brown stayed for a few years, but he wasn't very active on the backbenches. If you go back much further, it's much more common. Ted Heath stayed for 25 years, was father of the house, was very critical of
what do they call it, the
successor.
incredible sulk?
Exactly. Others, though, in and around that time, they went off to the House of Lords, but increasingly Prime Ministers aren't doing that. They're going off either to private sector, to the lecture circuit, working with charities, things like that. So it is a bit unusual.
Is that what you'd see her doing if she wasn't going to stay?
It seems so. I mean, we don't really know what her interest would be. Beyond all of that, some Prime Ministers come out with a sort of clear agenda, things that they want to do. Obviously, Tony Blair, with his work in Africa, his institutes, these were obvious sort of extensions of the kind of things he'd shown an interest in government. She's talked about a range of things that she's interested in, education, all sorts of various sort of charity areas that you can see her getting involved with. But again, we just don't know at this stage.
Do you think it's a bit of a humiliation for someone who's been Prime Minister, had the top job, to then go back and just be a normal backbencher?
It seems so to us, but actually in a way it used to be normal practice. You go back to the early 20th century, you would find former Prime Ministers would end up in cabinet of their successor. Alec Douglas-Home was the last to do that when he served as Foreign Secretary to Ted Heath in the 1970s. These days, though, the politics of it does seem like you should sort of vacate the arena, get off the stage and, leave it for the sort of the new people coming through. And certainly that's what John Major wanted to make sure that he did. And sort of that's why he didn't want to go to the House of Lords. He thought that there should be a sort of barrier between him and politics from then on.
I can't see the new Prime Minister giving Theresa May a job in his cabinet. Talking of the new Prime Minister, what will it be like for him, to have Theresa May on the backbenches? Will it be quite a distraction?
I don't think massively. I mean, again, it depends whether she turns up or not. She might not be in the chamber that frequently. I think it would be more so for the media looking for whether or not she's going to say anything, whether she'll comment on whatever his policy is, whether he comes back with a deal, whether he ends up going towards no deal. I mean, we don't know quite, what her lines will be on, for example, no deal policy. It might be very interesting, actually, how she ends up voting in the autumn.
Will she be a backseat driver, do you think?
I suspect not too vocally, but whether or not she decides for some key interventions, because this is still about her legacy, whether or not her deal was the right deal, she just couldn't get it over the line, and she may be keen for that to be sort of shown to be the case.
Catherine Haddon, thank you.